Welcome back to Lost Legacies. I'm Matt.
And I'm Sam, and this is a Hidden City Book Co. production.
Yeah, I'm glad you remember. I forgot again.
You said I could say it now, so now I have an extra thing to do. I'm so happy.
There you go. There you go. Yeah. Um, yeah, man. So I feel like we just recorded the last episode because that one kept getting postponed. So
Yeah.
what's happened in the world since then?
I don't know.
Madam Web has tanked.
Yeah. Yeah. To varying degrees of success. I don't know. People who love bad movies really loved Madam Web. They're like, this is so bad, it's good. And we loved it. And I'm like, well, that's good for you.
Yeah, good for
I,
you. I
I'm
heard
I'm
similar.
glad. Yeah. Lot of, same old, same old. Lots of film discourse. Everybody's arguing about everything, and you're just like, yeah, I'm. I don't know if I'm above it, but I'm over it. So
Yeah. What else? Anything? I don't know. I feel like we're kind of in a down spot right now, as far as like movie news and things. I wonder if it's still because of like we're still feeling like the aftershock of the strike. You know?
could be, yeah.
I don't know. What's like the next big blockbuster?
Dune.
Oh, is that March?
Mm-hmm. In like 2 weeks.
Wow. Really? Oh man, it's already almost
Mm-hmm.
March.
Mm-hmm.
You can go see it?
Yeah, probably.
I don't know. I enjoyed the first one.
Mm-hmm.
But I was also at home in the comfort of my own home watching this long ass movie.
See, yeah, that's kind of the thing too. That's kind of what I guess it just depends. I'll see how it shakes out, but also for my money, we saw part one in IMAX, and
You
it
did?
kind of, yeah,
Oh wow.
yeah, yeah, I thought I told you that.
You probably did. It was a long time ago.
Okay.
A lot's happened since then.
Yeah, that's true. But yeah, we saw it in IMAX, and for my money, it didn't really do anything for me in IMAX.
Hmm.
Also, maybe the IMAX theater we were in needs to like recalibrate their like sound.
Hmm.
Cause yeah, there was just a lot of it where I was like, I really can't understand what you're saying.
Wow.
Um, yeah, yeah.
Sounds like a Christopher Nolan film.
I know. And I
When did the first one come out? What year was that?
2021.
2021. Okay. So what's this one called? Is it just Dune 2?
It's Dune Part Two.
Should have called it Tune.
Tune.
Because what's the next one? It's Messiah?
Yeah,
So they're probably going to call it that.
yeah.
Oh, I can't wait for that.
Oh yeah.
All those crazy nutbag, far right, evangelistic Christians are going to come out. Oh, you can't call it this.
Mm-hmm.
You're polluting my children's minds.
Mm-hmm. And then you'll also get the people that are just like, that's problematic. He's a white man and he's, you know, coming into this space and doing that. And then it's like, I'm not gonna argue against that because it's very true,
Mm-hmm.
but that's also 100% the authorial intent. That's what Frank Herbert was talking about.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's kind of a thing. I know off pod we kind of talked about stories where the characters realize that they're the bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
That's Dune. That's literally Dune.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like I mean, we've even they kind of pared it down in part one, but there are a couple of moments where Paul has that realization, the whole like a war in my name moment. It's like, yeah,
Yeah.
that's on you, dude. And and
Mm-hmm.
and yeah, so like even though the first book and these two movies are about that sort of classic rise of a hero,
Mm-hmm.
that part of the hero's journey. Everything else in the series is the fallout of that, and how, like, yeah, this was a thing that changed the galaxy, the universe For the better question mark? Like,
Mm,
yeah, it's a real slippery slope. But part of Herbert's whole thing was essentially like taking out the or not taking out, but I guess like critiquing the like white saviorness and like putting like upholding, like those people who call themselves like messiahs,
mhm.
in a modern sort of context.
Yeah,
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah.
When are we getting the giant worm with Timothy's face on it?
If all goes well, in the one after Messiah.
Oh, really? Well, they're
Yeah.
probably not going that far. I thought they're just doing three.
Yeah, they're probably just gonna do three, which is kind of great because nobody's gone that far with any of the wait, no, I
Yeah,
take that back. They did in the sci-fi channel movies,
yeah.
the miniseries. I think they went through those first three.
Wow.
Yeah, so but I mean, hey, we'll see. Because I know
Yeah,
this is also very like personal project for Villeneuve.
yeah. I'm pretty sure once he's out, Warner Brothers is going to try and do sequels.
Yeah.
And if they can't, they're going to do the spin-offs.
Tune Electric Boogaloo.
Well, didn't they cancel the show about the sisters? They were supposed to do an HBO Max
Yeah.
show about that.
Yeah, they did.
Mm-hmm.
But just like with everything with Max right now, uh, I just take it with a grain of salt. Like, oh, that's premiering on Max? Sure it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What else can we talk about to further distract us from discussing this week's episode?
Do you not want to talk about this week's episode?
It's just, how would I say in French, Le Dark. That's right, people. We're talking about Dark, season 2, episode 7, The White Devil.
Oof.
In which Claudia lives up to her name and becomes the White Devil and murders her father.
Hmm.
Meanwhile, Hannah becomes even more diabolical than we originally thought.
Hmm.
All right, Sam, the floor's yours, man. Where you at?
Are we sure Hannah's not the White Devil?
I know, right? Dude,
on
that was
like
so messed up.
on Yeah, I don't want to like I don't want to like rank terrible things that people do in their lives,
Hmm.
but inadvertently killing your dad, inadvertently hurting your dad enough and then not calling for help so that he dies to
Uh-huh.
protect the timeline,
Hmm.
that's bad. That's really up there. But going back in time to find your lover, the man who you've been having a love affair with for a while, just to see his face, just to see if he would choose you over his wife and family, and then being dissatisfied with that answer, decides, no, I'm going to let you stay here. Even though I have the means to somehow get you out, I'm not going to do that. And then
Hmm.
leave completely and drive that man into further insanity. Like, I the scale tips hard at Hannah, all right?
Hmm.
I just yeah, that was the whole time I'm like this is going to end badly. And I was preparing myself for that. And it ends worse than I thought.
Yeah.
Like this just kind of spells it out for me that like there is no I don't think there's any bottom to Hannah's kind of depravity.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
that's horrifying.
Yeah, she doesn't get anything out of this other than the satisfaction of it,
Hmm.
to just be cruel to hurt Ulrich. I'm like, damn,
Mm-hmm.
man. I mean, and we've talked about this. Like, he deserves punishment for sure, but like at the same time, he wasn't successful, in killing Helgi.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like we see where his story goes, and it's like, damn,
Mm-hmm.
that's cold.
Yeah, it's a thing where it's like I can feel sympathy for this guy despite the fact that like he's done all these horrible things while still,
Yeah,
while still believing that like yeah, like kind of you did this to yourself and you deserve it. You deserve
yeah,
everything you have coming to you. But it is kind of a point where it's like has this man suffered enough?
yeah,
Like
exactly. I think
yeah.
we also understand the circumstances in which he made those decisions that
Mhm.
got him here. So it's not a case of like, oh, you just don't understand him. Like, no, we do, and like he did it for the right reasons. It's just he took it too far.
Yeah. Yeah.
Uh, and that's one of those ultimate questions, especially in storytelling. What would you do for your kids?
Yeah.
And neither of us having children are not the
Mhm.
experts on this, unless it comes to Lost.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I don't know, man. Um, like it was just cruel, It was
Mhm.
just cruel, and I'm like, damn. Now what's she gonna do? Hannah has a time machine.
Mhm.
Oh, dude.
But it sounds like she said she wanted a fresh start.
I think she's going to go further back in time, start making babies, and she's going to take the name Wyndon. And it turns out that everyone in this town is her descendant. It's just like, it's just closer to fulfilling my theory.
Wow, a Matt prediction. I gotta write that down.
They're all Hannah's kids.
Hannah is winded.
Uh huh. Mama Windy. Hmm.
Mama told me not to come.
Yeah.
Uh,
Meanwhile,
mm-hmm,
Katerina is also looking for the time machine.
mm-hmm. She is, and uh, yeah, and then the kids are trying to figure out what to do. You know?
Yeah, it's a tough spot, man. Like, because we find Francesca, Elizabeth, and Magnus are talking to Francesca and Elizabeth's parents, and they're like, "What you used the machine? What year did you go to?" And she's like, "Wait a minute, you knew and you didn't tell anyone?"
Mm-hmm.
Like,
Mm-hmm.
and I like how she calls her out. Like, all of this shit is happening because everyone has their own secrets. Nobody is talking, and it's like, again, what would you do to protect your kids? I can appreciate where they're coming from,
Mm-hmm.
but at the same time, like, people are going missing. Well, it's been a while, but kids died. People went
Mm-hmm.
missing. Like, you are in over your head. Like, can you objectively look at the situation in that moment, or are you just like, I gotta protect my family, gotta protect my kids? Because I gotta agree with Francesca. Like, the fact that they're being so secretive is what's like gonna doom everyone.
Yeah.
You know, like, everyone needs all the cards on the table. Everyone needs to understand. It goes back to the classic like battlefield tactics. We kind of talked about this with Game of Thrones of how Robb Stark blows up at his cousin or his uncle because he went and fought the mountain and lost or something like that, and he lost all these men, and Rob is all like, oh, blah 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 blah, you should have waited, I had a plan, I had a plan. That's a failure of leadership right there. What you're supposed to do is explain, even if it's not the plan, you got to explain why this is the objective, why it's important, because then when things go crazy, as they always do, the ones on the ground, they know why their
Mm-hmm.
objective is what it is. They can
Mm-hmm.
improvise because they understand why they have to do this.
Yeah.
And it's the same thing with this. Like, when something is so crazy and so dangerous, it's like, if you're gonna keep secrets, okay, fine, but you need to explain why. You need people to understand why you're keeping secrets or why you want them to do a certain thing. You need to get that understanding. This goes back to Lost as well. It's like you need to explain yourself so
Mm-hmm.
people understand.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, yeah, man, that pisses me off. You know, lack of communication is gonna get everyone killed.
Yep. Yep.
So, and even then, like if you think about it, Charlotte and Peter, they've been uh investigating this since like the end of season one. So it's been
Mm-hmm.
what, like 6 months or
Yeah.
longer. But still, like they had all these clues, but you can only imagine how crazy they feel, you know, investigating time travel,
Yeah.
maybe a cult. It wasn't. It was just like the last day or two where they're like, "Oh, wait a second, we think time travel is real,"
Yeah.
you
Yeah.
know. And yeah, that's what I would told Francesca. Like, okay, in fairness, this is all pretty crazy. I didn't think anyone was going to believe this,
Mm-hmm.
but it wasn't until just a day or two where we actually started figuring things out. So
Yeah.
slow your roll, kid. Okay.
Yeah.
How long
Yeah.
did you know about this? Like, let's come together and meet and discuss.
Yeah, because it feels like it's kind of the same thing with the kids. It's like everybody sort of figured out time travel in their
Yeah.
own time, but around the same time. So
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
it's so yeah, yeah. But
Yeah.
but that's not to undercut like Francesca's point. Like there are so many secrets in this town,
Mm-hmm.
and that's why everybody has a problem with everybody, or that's
Yeah.
why these things just keep happening because everybody's keeping it all, under the surface. They don't want to say anything.
Right.
And and for what? For to be nice, to placate other people's feelings, that doesn't help anything. And it just leads to further embarrassment. Case in point, when Marta goes to the house
Mm-hmm.
and meets older Jonas,
Mm-hmm.
and she figures out that it's older Jonas, and they're sitting there, and it's kind of a thing. And I'm not gonna lie, I was having some weird feelings about it. It's like, man, it's so great that that she has this guy back in her life, and he has her back, even though he's significantly older.
Mm-hmm.
But then Katerina shows up looking for
Yeah.
Hannah, looking for the time machine, and then straight up just tells Marta, like, did he tell you who he is? Did he
Yeah.
tell you who Mikkel is? It's like, it's his dad, you're his aunt, all this stuff, blah, blah, blah. And it's like, you can't just look, love is love, but sometimes you gotta rip off the band-aid.
Mm-hmm.
Gotta be like, hey, I love you with my whole heart, and also we're related.
Yeah. Damn.
And yeah, yeah. Shout out to everybody this episode because I think everybody did a fantastic job
Mm-hmm.
acting wise, selling all
Mm-hmm.
their performances. This wasn't an episode with too many, I guess, like events that happened, but just on an emotional level, I was
Yeah.
drained by the end of it. You
Dude, I
know?
know. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to have like this be the first time we see Martha and older Jonas, it was such a wonderful performance from the both of them.
Hmm.
You know, it's like, oh man. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
This show,
The show, man.
this town.
Yeah. So then Hannah ends up going back in time just to see Yorick, and she leaves him high and dry. And now she's getting on with young Egon,
Yeah, which I
who's
have.
which is interesting. So we're seeing him with Hannah in the past, but we're also seeing him with his daughter in the '80s, and
Mhm.
he's like figured it out, you know. And he even brings it back to the future. He's like, you know, the movie with the kid and the car, they go through
Mhm.
time. He's like, I think it's real, time travel. And Claudia starts like freaking out. She's like, he knows, you know. this whole episode she's trying to save him because he's supposed to. They find him dead in his apartment, so
Hmm.
she's trying to prevent his death, and she just goes off on him. She's like, and he basically figures it out. Like, you're in on it. It has to do
Hmm.
with the nuclear power plant. You're in on it.
Hmm.
He tries to call the cops, and Claudia tries to stop him. And and it's also because she says this is like we are on the edge of like a huge scientific breakthrough that can change everything, and you're going to sacrifice that for what? And
Hmm.
that like sums up everything so perfectly, like to say you're going to sacrifice that for what? It's like, what do you mean for what? People died. Kids went missing over this.
Hmm.
Like, of course we are. Like, what are you talking about? And he says, you haven't changed. It's always about you. I'm like, oh man.
Yep.
Ah, damn. So they get into a little tiff over the phone, and he falls and busts his head open on the counter.
Hmm.
And as she's calling 911, she realizes sacrifices have to be made, and she leaves him to die. And that's when he realizes, you are the white devil. Of course, I don't know why I'm trying to do the voice. I mean, it was in German.
Pretty good job though, I'll say.
El Diablo Blanca.
Whoa. Yeah.
Is that how you say it?
Well, hmm. Hmm.
Here, I'm going to ask my translator.
Well, because it would like the translator won't work because it's just like it's it would be Blanco. It gets everything just refers to just kind of defaults to the masculine.
El Diablo Blanco.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I guess because I guess we're talking about Claudia, I guess that we could refer to her as Blanca. Yeah.
Interesting. Oh,
Yeah.
well. It's a shame. This show is not set in a Spanish speaking country. I still wouldn't understand it.
I was gonna
So,
say, would that help you at all?
no.
Mm.
Oh, man. Poor Egon. And he was even asking her, too, like, do you think I was a good cop? And she's like, yeah, I'm sure you were. And he's like, I don't think so. It's just like that man coming to the point at the end of his life, and he's just reevaluating everything. And it's
Hmm.
like, yeah, like on one hand, I want to say like, yeah, man, you could have done more. On the other hand,
Hmm.
I saw what they were working with, and it's like it's not much, you know, but still, like that's a very real thing. People's lives were ruined because they didn't have the tools or the abilities to solve like crimes as detailed as that back in the day. Back in what was it? The 30s, the 20s. Um, much less this small German town in the 1920s.
Hmm. Hmm.
So,
And
and then
also the fact that they're dealing with time travel.
well, yeah,
So
that's what I'm talking about.
yeah.
Like it's just hard enough for them to, by our modern day standards, to solve crimes in general, much less something as complicated and twisty as that.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, man. And then also, you know, it was a different time, different era, and they were very much. This is more on them. They're very much just willing to just jump the gun, go with assumptions.
Hmm.
Well, okay, she must be involved. The White Devil must be involved somehow. She ended up she showed up the same day Helgi came back. It's got to be
Hmm.
connected.
Yeah.
And there's no questioning it. Nope. That's what it is. We're right. But well, shit. A lot happened this episode.
Hmm.
And it was like we needed last week's episode, which was like we talked about. It was a little more, I wouldn't say light, but a little more fun. We got to see everyone out of their element, enjoying themselves a little bit
Hmm.
because it was prepping us for this.
Yep.
And
Yep.
whereas Jonas like accidentally contributes to his father killing himself,
Hmm.
Claudia just straight up leaves her dad to die.
Yeah.
Oh, but she does recall what older Claudia said. She's like, to save her, Regina, you know, you have sacrifices must be made. I'm like,
Hmm.
oh, damn it, dude.
Yeah.
What would you do for your kid? That's the whole that's like the whole question of the show, but especially this episode. You know?
Hmm.
And then at the end, Claudia goes home, tries to wash the blood off her hands, and who shows up? Jonas.
Jonas.
It was nice too because I didn't even realize it until he shows up. I was like, "Oh man, we haven't seen him this whole episode." He
Mm.
comes back at the end, and it's really cool because it's like older Claudia, I guess, mentors him, and he mentors like middle-aged Claudia, maybe.
Yeah, that's crazy. Such a God, such a again, it's just it's that weird web. It's, this infinite loop of like, well, who learned this from who? And it's like we all
Mm-hmm.
kind of learned it from each other, at different points.
Mm-hmm.
Because you in the future told me this, so I could go into the past to tell you that, and all these things. And ay,
Yeah,
my head hurts.
man. We didn't see any Noah.
Mm-mm. Cat had a theory.
Ooh.
I know it's been a while since I've dropped a cat
I
theory
feel like
here.
we need like a segment title for this.
Yeah,
Cat theory
cat
or
theory. Rare.
hmm. Okay, we'll go with that.
All right, in this new segment of cat theory, rare. Uh, we were talking about Hannah, and we were talking about like, okay, like maybe she's gonna stay here. She's making eyes at this young Egon,
Mm-hmm.
all these things, and I'm like, okay, okay, but Cat's theory. So it comes down to this. In present day, Charlotte is still reeling over the fact that one, Noah is her father, and two, he said that his mother or her mother is very much alive.
Mm.
Kat's theory is that Hannah is Charlotte's mom,
Interesting.
which would put an interesting perspective, because like they haven't really interacted a whole bunch in the show, but I
Mm-hmm.
feel like in just the ways that they have, I think it would lend itself to like going back and looking at those moments, being like, your mom was there the whole time. You
Hmm.
didn't know it. Just like, just kind of like, you know, Mikhail and Jonas was like, wow, your dad was there the whole time. You didn't know it. It's like, man. And Cat, and because Cat's whole thing was also that like if you kind of look at like the shape of their eyes, Charlotte and Hannah, they kind of have like a similar shape. And I'm like, that's true. And the casting on this show is really good.
Mm-hmm.
Really good. So yeah, that was
Yeah, so that's
yeah.
interesting because Noah didn't know that Charlotte was still was there. He didn't realize she was there the whole time.
Hmm.
But he does tell her that the mom's still around. So he knows where the mom's at. But
Yeah.
what does that mean? Like he knows where she's at, but where is she? Like
Hmm.
because we've seen Noah go all over. Like he doesn't really have uh a main time period.
Yeah.
I guess he's a kid back in
The like 20s or no, the
what year
like
was
that.
that? Did they mention? Because I think they tell Jonas like he asks.
Oh no, that's the 20s. That's the 20s because everything with like young Helgi and stuff, that's the 50s.
Yeah, but the 20s is with. Oh, okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah, so because
Yeah, yeah,
the
yeah.
20s is like pre-tunnel, like the tunnel's still being built.
That's right. So Helgi and Hannah is currently in the 50s.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, so doing math here. The show started in 2019. That was the first year.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and what it
2018.
2018? What year is it now in this show? Because it keeps telling
Oh
us.
wait, no, no, no. It was 2019 because it's 2020 now in the show.
Yeah, in the show it's 2020
Mm-hmm.
minus 33. So the 80s storyline is in 87
Mm-hmm.
minus 33. So Egon and Hannah are currently in 54
Mm-hmm.
minus 33. So young Noah was 1921.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And then the only other one is the future, which is 2053.
Yeah.
Rad. Okay, yeah, that makes a lot of sense now. Okay. Hmm. Yeah, so if young Noah is in the 20s, I guess like the middle-aged Noah we've seen this whole time, the 50s would be like his kind of current time. That's where he belongs.
Yeah.
But he's traveling a lot.
Yeah. He's kind of like Noah in that sense that like he doesn't specifically have like a time that he belongs to really,
Wait, who?
right? Jonas? Is that wait, no, was
No, I
that
was
who
talking
you
about
were?
Noah.
Oh, right, right. Sorry,
Yeah,
sorry.
so
Yeah.
Noah's
Yeah, yeah.
like middle-aged Noah, his proper time is the 50s. But he's
Yes.
traveling around so much.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, only one episode left this season.
Ooh, man, it's gonna be a doozy.
I know. So you already have a little. That was kind of Cat's predictions. Any Sam predictions? Just for the wrapping up of the show, like what needs to get done in the next hour of this show?
Oh gosh. See, here was the thing that I was thinking about earlier. It's like they keep saying that we're at war.
Hmm.
Very like various characters say that we're at war, whether, we're at war with Sigmundus or against Claudia's people or with time itself. And for me, I'm just like, kind of haven't seen that. I just kind of
Hmm.
see everybody like setting up for
Mm,
it, like nobody because when you say like you're at war, it means that like you're taking the steps, you're eliminating people, and from what it seems like, they're not really eliminating people except for Noah who killed old Claudia,
yeah.
you
It does seem
know.
kind of weird because Sigmundus wants to change things. So they're
Mhm.
setting up for the final cycle.
Yeah.
Claudia also wants to change things.
Hmm.
So she's preserving. In reality, that's what they're both doing, you know?
Hmm.
Like both of them want to change things. They want to I guess Claudia wants to change the cycle, whereas Sigmundus wants to break the cycle,
Yeah.
but both require them to preserve it. So it's
Hmm.
like they're at war, but they've been doing the exact same thing this whole time.
Yeah.
So that's kind of weird. Uh
Yeah. So it's like what now I guess we have some like wild cards
mhm.
in a sense because because I kind of just feel like whatever is going on with Alexander, I feel
Oh,
like
we didn't even talk about him yet.
we didn't
Yeah.
even talk about that, but like the fact that somebody mailed a
Yeah.
letter to this investigator in another town, essentially alleging to that Alexander is not who he says he is.
Hmm.
And it's right here the day before the apocalypse is supposed to happen. That's not a coincidence. That feels
Yeah.
significant, you
Yeah, it
know?
does.
And I don't know if it's a thing where it's like that sets up, the apocalypse world of 33 years from 2020, or if this is going to be a thing that breaks
Mm.
the
Hmm.
timeline, like
Hmm.
I don't know, but like I feel like that is still key,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. So there's a wild card because we don't know who that is. But now we also have the wild card, several wild cards, because we don't
Hmm.
know who that is. But we also have Noah, who's no longer loyal to Adam.
Hmm.
So we don't know what he's going to do. Now we also have Hannah and Katerina with time machines.
Yeah.
So it's like just several wild cards out there, and we're just gonna see what happens.
Mm-hmm.
Things are gonna get dicey. This was we did have a cool little montage at the end,
Mm-hmm.
which was nice. It's been a while since they used like a song like that. The song's called "Is God's Whisper" by a group named Rory,
Okay. Mm-hmm.
Raury. Great song. I always hear it on my Spotify playlists, and I was like, so when I heard it on this, I was like, oh, rad, that's cool. So yeah. Let me see. Let's just see what I didn't take a lot of notes. I was just so pulled into this. Ooh, I do like when Marta and Jonas are first talking, middle-aged Jonas, and she's about to walk out and he mentions a glitch in the matrix.
Mm-hmm.
She's like, why did you say that? You know,
Mm-hmm.
and it goes back to what was that, the first episode?
Yeah, first episode.
Yeah, like, oh
That's their
man.
conversation on the train tracks before they go into the caves.
A glitch in the
Or
matrix.
a message from beyond.
Ooh. One thing I didn't enjoy about this episode was the opening, the cold open.
Mm.
Last week's was really cool because you got to see kind of a little montage of stuff happening throughout the series, and it stopped and rewound. So you saw everything moving backwards. And that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense because the story goes back, to it's kind of a prequel, several months
Mm-hmm.
before the first episode. This one was weird because it's like literally everyone physically looking at whoever is on their mind the most at that moment.
Mm.
So you have the first one is Adam sitting just on the couch and he's looking at Martha in the seat
Mm-hmm.
across from him, like, oh man, are they gonna meet? What's up with that? And then later you see Martha in her bedroom looking at Jonas all messed up, and then you see Katerina looking in the Mikhail in the corner.
Mm-hmm.
We do see Hannah stealing the time machine, and she's looking at the doorway, and it's Ulrich. Um,
Mm-hmm.
that was a bit weird. I think, especially because I mean, I got it, of course, but like, especially in the show of time travel, I was like, wait, is this in the future? Is this gonna happen? Like,
Mm-hmm.
it was just weird. It wasn't as cleverly done as the way it's been we've seen it in the past, where they just edit footage together in really cool ways, or they'll even split screen it and you'll see the character at the
Yeah.
same time. This was a
Yeah.
very theatrical type of thing.
Mm-hmm.
It just didn't really feel like it felt right
Yeah.
as far
I'll
as this
agree with
show
that.
goes. Like,
Yeah.
but then the last shot we see is Adam looking at the empty couch, and we're like, oh, okay,
Yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. Do better, Dirk.
Do better. That was just like a little tiny thing, but I wanted to bring it up, especially because the last week's opening was so cool. I feel like
Mm-hmm.
they're getting into this pattern where like we need to have a dramatic monologue in the beginning to explain things, and then we'll
Mm-hmm.
show an artistic rendition of how everyone's feeling, and
Yeah.
then it'll lead into the banger theme song. I love that
Right?
theme song.
Theme song's so good.
All right, let's see. MVPs. That's gonna be tough this week. I'm
Man, I can't. Yeah.
I'm tempted to say ensemble,
Yeah. I'll go
because
for
it was
that.
everyone. Like, I don't know if anyone really stood out the most. Oh,
Mm-hmm.
we mentioned it. We didn't talk about it. And then we mentioned it. We still didn't talk about it. Let's
Mm-hmm.
talk about Alexander real quick
Oh yeah. Yeah.
and the investigator or the
Yeah.
inspector, whatever.
Yeah. So like that, yeah, that whole thing is like he reveals that his brother went missing,
Mm-hmm.
years ago. Right
And
around the same time that all these kids were going missing in Winden.
yeah, I wonder if
Yeah.
that is connected. Like, I wonder if his brother was kidnapped at some point by Noah.
Mm.
Like if he had tried grabbing kids from further away, than
Mm-hmm.
Wyndon, because we saw what, like, 3 or 4 throughout the show.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but I'm assuming there were more before that. Also, because we caught the end of like that list they had in Claudia's book,
Oh yeah.
there's still a lot more on that list that came before. So I don't know what that was.
Hmm.
You know?
Yeah. Dang, that's a good point. Yeah.
Yeah. So like this has probably been going on for a while. Oh, it makes sense because it doesn't make sense that the only kid from the '80s to go missing would be Mads.
Mads.
I'm willing to bet that they got a couple kids and they were able to hide it. You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's probably what happened to the inspector's brother. Who knows?
Hmm. But we really still don't know what any of that's for, right? We don't
The
really
kids?
know. Yeah.
Yeah, they're. I mean, they're trying to make the time machine. I don't know
Yeah.
because see the thing is we saw all the kids go through it and die, but then we also saw Helgi go through it like the brief time he's with Noah at the beginning of the season.
Hmm.
So it's like it didn't work, but it didn't kill him. So
Hmm.
I don't know. Or maybe it did work. Who knows?
Maybe.
Because Noah had to bring Helgi back somehow,
Hmm.
unless he just walked him through the caves. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the thing. Like, there's too many modes of time travel right
And they all
now.
do different things, you know.
Yeah, yeah. Like the tunnel gate only, you know, you can go either one way or the other.
Yeah, and then you have two time machines right now.
Hmm.
Well,
Where
they
it's like,
were two time machines in the same time, but now they're separated again.
hmm,
But then you also have Adam's God particle, which was
hmm,
artificial,
hmm,
and then you have the natural one that's in the future.
hmm.
So yeah, it's like there's so many different ways, which I kind of like. You know,
Yeah.
it's not something like, geez, how many ways of time travel is there? It's more of like, no, this is an anomaly, but people are figuring out different ways to exploit it.
Hmm.
And by doing that, it's doing it always in a different way. Like the rules of time travel change, you
Hmm.
know, between each different method. Well, I'm sure everything will be answered next week
Hmm. Oh, I'm sure.
as we talk about next week's episode with only 9 episodes left, Sam.
Ever?
Oh, I'm just going to say this because we didn't bring this up either. This episode, there's 1 day left to the apocalypse. So next week, we're talking about Dark, Season 2, Episode 8, Endings and Beginnings, where we make it to the day of the apocalypse.
Oh boy.
So they do mention, was it Noah who mentioned it? Yeah, because Charlotte was talking to Peter that Noah said the world's going to end the day after or tomorrow. It's going
Hmm.
to end tomorrow. Everyone's going to die except the people in the bunker. So they're already talking about it.
Hmm.
So there's a chance we could get some survivors out of this.
Maybe.
We'll see.
We'll see. I don't know. I don't know. I just expect the unexpected with this show. That's what I've learned.
Yeah.
Tell everyone your deepest, darkest secrets first and foremost, right out the gate, and expect the unexpected. That's
They
what I've learned.
they all go through the God particle, but they do it in a way that we don't have the rules for it. And it's so just like
Mm-hmm.
Battlestar Galactica.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, there you go.
Spoilers for Battlestar Galactica, but
Oh
yeah.
god! Oh no 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 no! I have to cut that! I have to cut that! Dan hasn't watched. Dan, okay, I'm gonna cut that for sure.
Wow.
Jeez. Okay, guys, sorry about that. We're back. I just spoiled the end of Battlestar Galactica, and I realized that oh no, we have people who haven't watched it and who intend to. So I'm like, nope. I had to cut about a minute off of this podcast. All right, this is what happens when I haven't ate dinner and I start recording.
Uh-huh.
Thank you for joining us. Let us know. I'm curious. Let us know. Hit us up at hashtag Lost Legacies. Who do you think's gonna survive the apocalypse? Ooh, we should do a poll. That would be
oh,
awesome.
oh, sure.
I mean, I don't know how to do that, so everyone just tell me who do you think's gonna survive? That's our poll.
Wow. Okay.
Um,
We'll tally up the votes, and you'll win nothing. Next episode.
yeah, you'll win our respect. We'll mention you by name on the pod. Uh,
Mm,
yeah, yeah. Just because we have seen, there were a few characters' graves we saw. Do you remember who they were? I know we saw Martha's.
we did see Marta's.
I think we saw Waller's.
I think so. I think we saw Charlotte's.
Okay.
I honestly don't remember.
Yeah, I don't remember either. Okay, well, we'll have to wait and see. Let us know. Hit us up. Hashtag Lost Legacies. Who do you think's
Yeah.
gonna live? Who do you think's gonna die?
Mhm. And no
Fortnite-
spoilers, please.
Yeah, no spoilers. I don't think anyone who's watched Dark is actually watching this. Other than
Ouch.
Other than me.
Yeah,
No.
except you.
I'm gonna spoil it. Future Matt's gonna spoil it on
No!
accident.
Bam!
Also, I'm on Twitter _Matt Jimenez and on Instagram at Holy Hand Grenade of Antioch.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Real. It's REEL Texas Weirdo.
Until next time,
Going dark.